What's up YouTube? Tom from Tech Stops here, and today I'm doing a video comparing Nikon's recently announced D7000 against Canon's also recently announced 60D. Both these bodies carry a lot of hype about them. They're in the mid-range prosumer level on the crop sensors, APS-C for the Canon and DX for the Nikon. Both these bodies I've actually done preview videos about. You can check the Canon 60D out just up the top there. Click that link if you want to go to the dedicated video. If you want to go to the one about the Nikon D7000, just click down here. It will take you straight to my site, or straight to the video for the D7000. But in this video, I'll compare the two bodies. They're right around that good sort of entry-level, upper entry-level sort of prosumer range. So I've been getting a lot of questions about which one I'd recommend. I'll go through things like the construction type, what sensor it has, what the video capabilities are, what LCD screen it has, how many frames per second it can shoot, and so forth. I'll go through all the important specifications, and at the end I'll let you know what I think you should get if you're in the market for a body of this type. So check out this video, check out my other videos, and subscribe if you like my vids. But for now, let's get right into it. So the D7000 compared to the 60D. The first thing, body construction. The D7000 is made from a magnesium alloy and has weather sealing. Fantastic, really pro level sort of construction. Compared to the 60D, which is a replacement from the 50D, that's got an aluminium and polycarbonate body. What that essentially means, we have an aluminium sort of frame inside and a polycarbonate, no weather sealing. That's a downgrade that Canon actually put in place from the 50D, which was a magnesium alloy body. So that one clearly goes to the Nikon D7000. The next point is the sensor. Nikon has released a 16.2 megapixel CMOS sensor, which is fantastic, and the second highest megapixel rating for Nikon, compared to the Canon 60D, which has an 18 megapixel sensor, similar to the 7D. So that one, Canon really do edge it out at 16.2 at the level of the level of photographer that this actual body will be targeted at. Still enough, but Canon takes that one out. Thirdly, LCD screen. Canon has, for the first time on its DSLR range, gone for a swivel screen for this one. So it's a 1 million dot swivel screen at 3 inches. And Canon's latest DSLRs has been getting fantastic LCD quality, so I'd imagine this one would be great as well, compared to the D7000, which is a 912,000 dot 3-inch screen. So really, that's a line ball, half a point each on that front, but it depends. Do you want the swivel screen, or do you like the fixed screen? If you're using it for video capability, which these DSLRs really are starting to evolve into a video purpose sort of camera, then the Canon might be great. I'm a Canon shooter, but I don't actually enjoy the swivel screen, what I sort of played around with it on the Sony. So, but half a point there. I guess it'd be good to have if you could have it. Next, autofocus. All Canon users are envious of Nikon's autofocus system. This is no different this time around. So the D7000 actually has a 39-point autofocus system compared to a 9-point autofocus system on the Canon. That's clearly a hands-down winner to the D7000, and you just really can't compete at that range. The Canon doesn't have really anything that can compete at that level, especially at the prosumer range. So that's a huge plus for Nikon. It's a real selling point for their cameras. The next one is the ISO range. Both cameras shoot at 100 to 6400 ISO. What the actual quality of that ISO, or the capability of low light photography is, I'm not sure. The cameras haven't been released yet. So it's not just important to note what it is capable of shooting, but how it's capable of shooting, what the quality of the images are. But for this purpose, they both shoot 100 to 6400. The Nikon is expandable to 25,800, whereas 25,600. Whereas the Canon 60D is expandable to 12,800. Really, will you be using it at that range? I doubt it, and if you do, it will be very grainy. So line ball, both 100 to 6400. The next one, continuous shooting for all those sports photographers or wildlife photographers. The D7000, a pretty respectable 6 frames per second, compared to the 60D, which is around the 5.5 frames per second. So pretty close, but I'll give that one to the Nikon D7000. Next one, viewfinder. You got 100% coverage on the D7000 compared to 96% coverage on the viewfinder of the Canon. I really enjoy having 100% viewfinder, and that's why, although it's only 4%, you know, really it would have been good for Canon to bump it up and get that full 100% coverage ratio, which it has on a lot of its other cameras, like the 7D. So that one I'm giving out to the Nikon D7000 again. Seems to be a regular theme here. I think it seems like Nikon has really trumped or come out stronger than Canon. It's revealed or unveiled its camera about 2 weeks later, but it seems to be getting on top there on this leaderboard. So next one is movie mode. Both shoot 1080p, which will be a huge, will be music to the ears of Nikon users. They've been screaming for 1080p HD video for some time. Some of the other DSLRs out there, like D90 for instance, could only shoot at 720, so they can both shoot at 1080. The difference here is Canon still has the upper hand. Canon can shoot up to 30 frames per second at 1080, so 30, 25, and 24 frames per second, and then it can shoot at 50 and 60 frames per second at 720p. Compared to the Nikon, that can shoot at 24 frames per second at 1080, but if you want to go any faster, you know, the 30 frames per second and up, you have to shoot at 720, so it's not as quick. That one goes to the 60D. Really, it probably doesn't make a huge difference, but Canon do have the upper edge on the video. I don't think it'll be long before the Nikons are shooting at 30 frames per second at 1080p. They're really picking up their game in the HD video. Next point is the memory cards. What we've seen on this prosumer level across a number of models is they're starting to implement SD cards rather than compact flash. Initially it was SD and compact flash in some of the Nikon models, and now they're just going full SD. So D7000 has 2 SD slots compared to the Canon 60D, which has the 1 SD slot. I personally prefer compact flash, but my investment in memory cards has been all compact flash. I guess it makes sense from people upgrading from point-and-shoot cameras into a DSLR. They would have SD cards, so they'll move into that segment. The benefit of the Nikon there, not a huge one, but I'll give them the points for this segment or for this category because it gives you a lot of versatility. It allows you to use one card as your primary card and then back up onto the second, or you can split the usage where one card gets full and video potentially. When you're shooting video, it will automatically transfer and shoot on the next card. So it gives you a bit more versatility, which is pretty good. The next one is weight. Pretty comparable, line ball there really. The Nikon D7000, 1.7 pounds or 780 grams, compared to the Canon 60D, 1.6 pounds or 755 grams. So no huge difference there really, but weight is important at this segment because these aren't professionals that are going to be using this camera. These are guys and girls walking off the street. They really want to improve their photography and grow into their photography, but they don't want to be carrying a lot of weight around. So you throw a decent lens on there and it really starts to pick up. And it's also aimed at the entry-level guys. So weight's important, but line ball in this case. And the last point, and I guess it could potentially be a differentiating point because they both will, I'm sure, shoot fantastic quality images. They both shoot pretty quick frames per second. They got full HD video. If you're a new entrant into a DSLR, how may you differentiate them? And maybe price. So if you look at the recommended retail price, the D7000 will be retailing for $11.99 US compared to the Canon 60D at $10.99 US. So that one does go to the Canon. It's a slight edge. The Nikon may adjust its pricing to be a bit more competitive with Canon, but really on a spec side, it's a bit higher up, so I'm not sure that they do that. But Canon does have it on the pricing. So how does it all fare up? Out of the 11 segments, the Canon has 4.5, and the Nikon D7000 6.5. I'm a Canon shooter. I love the sound of this Nikon D7000. If I was a new entrant or if someone asked me, and they do on the email, And this is me telling you guys, if you guys are looking at getting into this market, getting a sort of mid-range prosumer level DSLR body as your first, or potentially an upgrade from, say, a D3000, then this is the one to jump across to. Alternatively, the Nikon D300S will at some stage get upgraded, maybe in 6 or 12 months. If you're already in the DSLR market and you're really looking at making a true jump to the top-of-the-line crop sensor body, then wait for that one to come out. But the D7000 looks like a great body. Not to say that the 60D won't be a fantastic body and a really good rig once you put a good lens on it, but on pure specs, that's the one I'll go for. So there it is, D7000. I never thought I'd say it being a Canon shooter, but you heard it first. So this is Tom from TechStops here. Check out my other vids. Let me know what you think of these cameras, and please rate the video. See you next time.